What's up, everybody? It's your girl Candace Rose, and here we are back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about book recommendations so we can become our greatest selves, so we can have our best lives and build on our best lives and that sort of thing. So thank you for tuning into my channel. I appreciate it a lot. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've read any of these or you liked any of these in particular, drop a comment. Let me know which ones you liked, which ones you've read, which ones you're curious about, what you thought about the book if you read it, like that sort of thing. I want to hear it all. So without further ado, let's get right into it because I got a couple good ones. I'm not gonna lie. I got a couple good ones and a couple topics. We're gonna go over mindset. We're gonna go over charisma and like talking to people and being social. We're going to talk about like structure, getting your structure together, goal setting, goal attainment, that sort of thing. Like that's all in this video. If you want some book recommendations for other topics, drop that in the comments too. I have no problem sharing book recommendations, and let's get right into it. So first things first, everybody always talks about it. We're going to talk about it here too with my book suggestions. We're going to tap into your mindset. So these books are going to tap into that, your psyche. So I'd like to say The Mountain Is You is a really good pick for anybody who struggles with imposter syndrome, anxiety, self-sabotage, like those types of things. Like it'll really help you get to the source. There are exercises and all types of things going on. Hold on. Another book I'd like to suggest for your mindset is I believe it's called Breaking the Cycle, and it's really good. I actually haven't finished this book yet, but so far so good. It's about breaking like generational trauma, like because sometimes you're going through things and you're experiencing things that actually aren't from your personal experiences. And it's a scientific phenomenon that if your parents have trauma that's unresolved at the point in which you were conceived, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna inherit those triggers in your nervous system. So in order to get through that, work through that, and ensure you don't pass it down, or just like for your own sake and your own health, that's a good book to tap into as well. There are some exercises in there as well, so just be prepared for those two books to have exercises. And a third book for your mindset, I would say, is Millionaire Success Habits. So with that book in particular, I've read it twice, maybe even 3 times. I think just twice. I've listened to it twice. So with that book in particular, it gives you tips, like little things that you can do for yourself that will help you. They do tap into your mindset. It's very practical. Just little stuff like for mindset, they tell you to set 3 alarms: one in the morning, one in the middle of the day, one in the evening. It really wants you to like keep your positivity, be grateful for what you do have and what you're building, and all these things that it's just it's very helpful for morale because whenever you're trying to make huge leaps and bounds and in your lifestyle or socioeconomic status or whatever, or just be a better version of yourself, it's a completely different version of who you are today, and it's difficult. So yeah, those threes, get your mind intact. Yeah, so in terms of like goal setting and actual practical steps, being very efficient, I would say 12-Week Year and The Compound Effect are two really good books that I would recommend, that I've read them myself. 12-Week Year is really about writing out your whole plan for your life, like at the end of it, or at the height of your life, or whatever your prime, where do you see your life looking like? You write all that out. Then you cut it down to, okay, from that time, let's say in 10 years, where do you feel like you should be in order to be considered on track, right? And then you cut it down again in 5 years, same thing. Like, where do you feel like you should be in order to be considered on track? And you basically do that. You cut it down to 1 year, and then you cut it down to 12 weeks. You cut it down to 6 months, and then you cut it down to 12 weeks. So that's essentially a quarter. So you're going to do actionable steps every quarter, like actionable goals and attainable goals every quarter throughout this time. And then eventually you'll start hitting these goals, you'll start knocking them off. So that's the plan, and it's a really good plan, like, because sometimes we get really overwhelmed with everything going on, and you have these really big dreams that seem so far from where you are right now. But if you just take it like one bite at a time, that's the only way you can eat an elephant. That's the only way you're going to make these things happen, is like one day at a time. Like, and they go through like accountability partners, like how to write your goals, that sort of thing. And yeah, I just think it's a great book for stuff like that. The Compound Effect is just based is talking about momentum, and just basically like over time, same concept, just less practical. Just kind of like over time, you'll hit these goals. You just got to do one thing at a time, just a little bit every day, every day, every day. So those are two books that I'd highly recommend. And for my last recommendation, I would recommend these two books, because everything is, not everything, but a lot of things are about who you know. And you need to be able to talk to people. I know, like, it's hard, especially if you grew up on social media. You'd rather slide into DMs than talk to somebody in person, or like, establish a relationship through the DMs and then try to get a meeting. But sometimes, life just doesn't work out like that, and if you don't meet them in person, then you can also, go in the DMs. But if you do have an opportunity to meet them in person, I'm telling you, it's 1,000 times better. Like, just go for it. That being said, the two books that I would recommend for that, well, three books. Hmm. I'll recommend the third one, but there's like a caveat to that. So the first book is How to Talk to Anybody. It's a really good book. It helps you with like breaking the ice, establishing, the proper body language and that sort of thing, and really like giving off the energy that you want to give off in this interaction. So that's one. The other one is How to Make Friends and Influence People. Um, I should really be telling you guys the authors, but Google is free. But yeah, How to Make Friends and Influence People. It's a really good one. It gives you some really good tips on how to like be sociable in a way that makes people want to talk to you again, or keep talking to you, or feel. Now, you can use these things obviously for like social gain and networking and stuff like that, but I really encourage you to actually form genuine connections using these. Genuine connections will always be better than just trying to be transactional, so you can use these exact same tips, just be genuine. That's it. Be open, be genuine, be honest. Um, that being said, I need to give that disclaimer before I give you the last book. The last book is The Art of Seduction. So, with this book, it's applied to dating in the book, but you can honestly apply these same principles to figure out what kind of charisma you have. And, people always say, like, in a professional setting or stuff like that, like, in just social settings that aren't necessarily of that type, that people have charisma. It's recognizable when people have charisma and they can talk to you and be very comfortable in who they are and stuff like that. So I feel like The Art of Seduction, when you read it, you should use it to identify what type of charisma you have, and therefore like kind of lean into that when you're interacting with people, because it's useful to know yourself in order to communicate with others. So those are my suggestions. The only one I didn't complete was Breaking the Cycle and How to Talk to Anyone. Those are the only two books, because I have the physical copies and it's a little more difficult for me to like physically read information as opposed to listen. But that's just me personally. I've read all the other ones in entirety at least once. So this is my personal take on some books that I feel like would be perfect if you're trying to change a lot. And yeah. And a bonus book, the book is called You Are a Badass. Like, that's a really good one. Yeah. I could give you guys like financial books and stuff like that, but I don't really talk about that stuff on this channel. If you want me to do a separate list like that, drop that in the comments below. If you want to hear some book recommendations about filmmaking, drop that in the comments below. And, let's get a dialogue. If you've read any of these or have any questions about any of these books, you can drop that in the comments below as well. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.